大家好! Thanks for watching Edupedia World videos. As promised, I will do grammar review for you so you'll be more familiar with Chinese grammar structures. So in this lesson, I will talk about grammar structure like it has formula. So pay attention to this as it is quite an important lesson for you to refresh your memory on grammar structure. First one, we'll talk about subjects and verbs. So for subject, if you want to give a number to an object, there must be a quantifier in between. So the example here is 一支笔. The next one, when you want to construct a sentence that has subject, verb, and object, the three components are sequenced as subject, verb, and object. And of course, if there are many verbs, you just have to add another verb after the verb that you want to express. So for example, 我想要吃一颗橙. It has a series of verbs, 想要吃. And for subject or object, there is the 一颗橙 there. And of course, for this one, we can also say 我想要吃橙. That is fine because you are not indicating any numbers. So it can be any quantity that you want, that you have to state later if you want the other person to know. Okay? And for subject or object, they can be the location, time, or gerund. For gerund, we haven't encountered any in the previous lessons, but there will be more in the future lessons. Okay, so for the example of subject being the time, I have a sample sentence here. It is 昨晚有很多星星. If you can remember, it means there were a lot of stars last night. So this is the very summary of subject, verb, object grammar structure. Next one. Whenever you want to add description to the subject, verb, object grammar structure, it is always placed in front of the verb. So the description can be time, location, and a lot more that can be used to describe the verb. So the sample sentence I have here is 他在餐馆吃饭. Okay, 在餐馆 is the description of location of the verb. So here are all the grammar rules for subject and verbs. Next one is about subject and adjectives. So for example, whenever you want to link subject and adjective, you don't need any verb to be in between. And also you will have to add a certain degree in between. So the 3 degrees that you have learned. 他很好. 他非常高兴. 他不饿. These are all the samples of subject, degree, and adjective. Okay? 很, 非常, 不, 十分, they are all the degree. Next one. Adjective plus the plus subject or object. Okay? This is a part of the sentence. So it can fit into the subject, verb, object, grammar structure that you have seen earlier. So the example here I have, 高兴的她写了漂亮的字. So it's like, well, she being very happy, she wrote beautiful words. Okay, so this kind of grammar structure is allowed in Chinese grammar. And it is quite hard to translate this in English in a perfect manner. Okay, so you can see that it's like adjective, the subject, and then verb, and finally the adjective plus the plus object. Okay, so this is a grammar structure that is unique to Chinese. Okay, next one is subject plus verb or adjective and the plus description. Okay, so as I introduced you earlier, it has the function of adding description of the verb or adjective. Okay, so for example, 他高兴地笑了。笑了 is like a description to his feeling of happiness. And of course, there is another way to construct adverbs, and it is subject, adjective plus the plus verb. Okay, so the example I have here is 他高兴地笑. Okay, so 高兴的 is happily, 笑 as you know is laugh. So in the whole sentence, it is he happily laughs. Okay, so it is different from the last the, because if you really want to make it another way, using the here, it should be 他笑得很高兴. That one is he laughs happily. Okay, but to say 他高兴地笑了 is to say that he is so happy that he laughs. Okay, so there are differences. What is in front of the here and what's after the. Next one, I'll talk about comparative and superlative adjectives. The first one is subject plus 比较 plus adjective. So the example I have here is 她比较高兴, which means she is happier. Okay, so this 比较 is used when there is no object for comparison. Okay, it just means more and adding comparative quality to the adjectives. Okay, next one, it is subject, be, object, and adjective. So for example, what I have here is 她比我饿. It means she's hungrier than me. Okay, so 比 here is like the verb which compares the subject and object, and afterwards you just have to add adjective for the description. Finally, this is very simple. Subject, 最 adjectives, it's for superlative adjectives. Okay, so this is very much like another type of degree for adjectives. So to say she is the prettiest, you can just say 她最漂亮. Okay, so other than the subject, verbs, objects, and adjectives, there are other grammar structures. For example, subject plus 把 or 将, object and verb. So the function of this grammar structure is to put object before the verb. So the example sentence I have here is 我把 or 将苹果吃了. Next one, passive voice. The grammar structure is object plus 被 plus subject plus verb. So the sample sentence I have here is 苹果被我吃了. The apple was eaten by me. So this is the passive voice for Chinese. Okay. Finally, I've introduced you 用来, how these two can couple together. So the formula is subject 用 object 来 verb plus object. Okay, so you can regard 用 as a verb, so it's like subject, verb, object, and then verb and object. So the sample sentence I have for this formula is 我用铅笔来写字. It is to mean I use pencils to write. So 来 has the meaning of to and it's only to state the purpose of the phrase in front of lie. Finally, I have also taught you how to ask questions, and for all the questions, you have the question verb like what, 什么. So for this question word, 什么, you just place at where you expect the answers are. Okay, by now you should be very familiar with how to ask questions, but I will do a revision of the question words that we have. Okay, so for example, the first one, if you want to ask what is this, is 这是什么? Because the answer can be 这是一支笔, this is a pen. So to ask the question of 什么, you just replace the answer 一支笔 with the question 什么. So it becomes 这是什么 as a proper way of asking questions in Chinese. Okay, next one is who, 谁. Okay, the third, where, 哪. Usually you will say 在哪, at where. Okay, 呢 is hardly used and it's usually in an informal situation. Okay, number 4, which is 哪一个. Okay, of course you can always substitute the quantifier 个 to another quantifiers like 科, 位, 之. Okay, so it depends on what objects that you are referring to that you give different quantifier for that. 5, whose, 谁的. Okay, this should be easy. How, it can be 怎么 or 怎么样. Okay, so for the first one, 怎么, it is usually asking how to do something like 怎么去 or 怎么走, how to get there. Okay, while 怎么样 is to ask the conditions of things, like the book is good, 那本书很好. To ask a question out of that, you can ask 这本书怎么样? How is that book? Okay. 7, how many? It is 多少. Okay, for example, you have learned 多少钱, like how much money. Okay. Number 8, when you ask yes or no question, it is always verb plus 不 plus verb. For example, 是不是, 要不要, but the different verb is 有, the verb to have. Okay, to ask if you have something, you add 有没有. So 有 is a rather special one. You ask 有没有, not 有不有. Okay, and of course you can also use 吗 in yes or no question. Okay, next one, why? I haven't told you that because for the answers it will involve because, and for because it is the conjunctions which will be a lot more difficult to learn. So for now, I just want you to learn simple structure and expand vocabulary. When you are ready, I will introduce more. Okay, so to say why in Mandarin, it is 为什么. So you have learned what is 为. 为 is like for. So to ask 为什么 is like for what. So to French speakers, it may be very familiar to you because why in French is just like for what. Finally, I haven't told you about when. When, there are different ways to ask when. So for now, I'm not gonna cover it. It will be covered in the future lessons, but let's stick to these questions words we have. So that was the quick review I have for you, and I hope that you will repeat this lesson many times because you will need to know where to place the subject, verbs, objects, and other grammar usage. As you can see, grammar is just about formula. You just need to know where to place the subject, verb, object, and adjectives. Of course, there are other grammar structures that you just need to memorize. So after this, I will use dialogue to help you expand your vocabulary so that you will know how to apply those vocabulary immediately. Okay, so the first topic will be exchange currency, because whenever you travel, it is very common that you change currency, whatever the reason for your travel is, be it business traveling or just for a holiday. Okay, so the next lesson will be a useful one for you, so I'm excited to teach you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching and doing the quick review with me. I hope you found it beneficial. See you in the next video. 谢谢，再见。